Hey, YouTube. Well, I got a chance to stroll down memory lane last night. I was watching television. I went to VH1, and they were doing a story on Switch. It brought back a lot of memories. I arrived in Los Angeles 1976. So I came, and then I went right back and came again. So I think I was 76 and 77. I'm not sure exactly when I touched down, but when I arrived at corner of Hollywood Vine in 1976, Switch was happening. There was a big billboard on Sunset Boulevard. I still remember it. They had a big billboard. There wasn't that many, young black groups with billboards on there. They were like the new thing. Anyway, it was only significant to me because this guy who was on the billboard was actually down in the community. That's what shall we say. So here's my thing. Okay, so a few years ago, VH1, not VH1, TV1, they did a story on the DeBarge family, right? It's a very touching story. They had a lot of hardships in there. And they talked about also about Bobby. Bobby was not a part of DeBarge, but he came before DeBarge, right? He was the one that brought the family to Los Angeles. So they told some of his story also, but in the story, they didn't mention that he was gay. Now, I know him to be gay because I know him. We went to the same clubs. I had a roommate. My roommate was Jermaine Stewart. He actually ended up having a musical career of his own also. But at the time that I got there, Jermaine was a Soul Train dancer. And those were the celebrities in the gay community in Hollywood in 76, 77. It was Soul Train dancers. They were treated like celebrities because they had little magazines. I forget what it's called, Tigger or something like that. Anyway, so and we all watched Soul Train. Then it was a very big thing. I got there and I realized that pretty much all the dancers were gay people, and they were kind of like they called themselves the children. And I guess a lot of people in the community still use that language. Anyway, Soul Train dancers. Then there was Switch, and there was Shalimar. Not that Shalimar, they weren't gay, but they knew Jermaine as well because they were all Soul Train dancers. They started from Soul Train. Anyway, I wasn't really connected. I didn't know Bobby DeBarge very well. I knew we went to the same places, and I know that he was good friends with my roommate. They met and went out together a lot and kind of stuff. And I was kind of watching him. He was like a celebrity. But a celebrity that we partied with. Now, I thought at the time, I said, well, he didn't like me very much. And he loved Jermaine. I mean, he loved the other guys. But I think it's because I didn't have any talent. I was just kind of there. I had I don't know, just call him a sugar daddy, a boyfriend, or whatever. I was seeing this costume designer, whom they all knew, which kind of put me in their circles. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so in the original DeBarge story, they didn't say that he was gay, and I just thought, well, why leave that out? I mean, you're gonna tell someone's story, tell their story, their real story. So last night I saw, they doing Switch now, not the DeBarge family. So right away they broke it down the way that I know Bobby DeBarge to be. I know him to be gay. I didn't realize he was a drug addict then. So I think maybe some of his standoffishness could have been attributed to that he was on heroin at the time. I just thought he didn't feel me very much. But people who are in life don't have a lot to say to people who are, Anyway. So last night I was watching that Switch, so I recommend that you guys see that. That TV1, they do great shows. I mean, it's a quality show, and it's so rewarding to see these old guys now who have this past because no one can take it from you. I mean, if you were a celebrity and you were on tour buses and you were doing all that, that's a big part of your life. When you get old, that's what you got. You got your memories, right? So, I found them to be very honest. Okay, now this time I was seeing DeBarge from what I knew of the family. I was saying, okay, this is the real stuff. This is just what was going down, because he was gay. He had a lover and everything, and he died of AIDS eventually. Like most of the people in that crowd, Jermaine ended up dying from that. He died from that. There were two other friends. Roland was one of them. Ronnie. Most of them died from either drugs. Most of us got involved in drugs separately, and then years later, AIDS took most of the people out. Anyway, so what else am I going to say about this? Oh, so I recommend that you check that out. Switch on TV One. I remember, because it was kind of a mystery, because they were celebrities. I mean, they had a hit record out. They had a billboard on Sunset Boulevard. And as far as I know, they were touring and everything. But Bobby lived in this hotel off Hollywood Boulevard. When I was watching the story last night, they were saying that they had a house in the valley somewhere. So I guess he did his private thing from that hotel. I forget the name of it now, but it's a decent hotel. But he stayed there with his boyfriend. So I guess he was bisexual, because later on, years later, he ended up getting married and having children and so forth. So, some people are bisexual. I just knew him as a gay man. Anyway. But that story, it was touching. Kind of brought me back to that time. I remember those people who used to live Hollywood. Hollywood's the kind of place where, celebrities, they're right there with the regular people. So you could be. I remember the first person I saw when I got to Hollywood. I got off the bus. I think I walked down. I was walking up and down the boulevard with nowhere to go, no prospects. And I decided to pull off of Hollywood Boulevard to rest my ankles. And I sat down on this rock in front of Capitol Records. And right there beside me was Barry White talking on the phone. Then we had public phones. I said, I'll be damned, it's Barry White. I can touch him. I can reach out and touch him. Anyway. So I did, through the years, I heard about Bobby getting more into drugs. Well, when I first saw that, I was so raw. I didn't know anything about dope and stuff like that. But as it turns out, most of us ended up on some kind of dope. I ended up on speed. Jermaine, as far as I know, never did drugs. But the other guys, they ended up crack, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Switch came first. And then, as their star was starting to dim a little bit, then came DeBarge with all the brothers and so forth. I just like the way they told this story. I think it's a good thing, just tell the truth. That's what I mean. That's what those shows are good for me. We want to know what life was really like, what happened, and so that just kind of confirmed that they were really telling on the story there. It seems like TV One, they're advertising Empire. So I was confused. I said, wait a minute. They're advertising. They're going to be TV One. Is Empire moving to TV One? And then somewhere on YouTube I said that they were going to play the reruns, I think. So anyway, Empire, you can watch the reruns. Right now, you're going to watch the reruns, you got to pay. So it's good it is going there. Okay, so what else I can say about that story? So Switch came first, then DeBarge. But I just felt like they weren't being honest with the story, which that's not the truth. They just left that part out. It seems like times are changing now. People are more willing to say things like they were. So anyway, it was a great show. Who wants to come in there and lay that on you guys? I love that show. I love that damn Unsung. I love the way they tell their stories. They're good storytellers, top quality. So I hope the best for that network that grows. All right. So I just want to say that, I guess. Talk to you guys later.